I need a flame. Righteous. Okay, let's do it.
Let's go.
Okay. You're listening to Standing in Fire. Welcome, headbangers, and all of you folks out there in internet land. This is the Standing in Fire podcast, the one and only place for all things about standing in fire. We've got some fantastic long hair tonight. We are rocking and ready for probably what is the best show we've ever done about Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. What do you think, guys? I am Boom, and I am joined by Militus and, of course, Tess. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fine. Tess looks rather perturbed this evening.
She started off so
miffed.
we needed a shorter pre-show because the pre-show was so long that it gave me enough time to aggravate Tess.
Gave you enough time to ask for an item that I sent you in August. And then when I couldn't find it, my OCD clicked in, and I was like, okay, you have to give me 10 minutes, and I got to find it.
Let it go. Well, we've got a great show for everybody. We have, later on in the show, we have the vocal throwdown between Coltrane and myself doing a voiceover of the archive. It's going to be so fantastic.
Epic.
Ass kicking. Sorry.
Yeah.
I am going to do. I appreciate your confidence. I appreciate. That's.
Yeah. Seriously, listeners. You know, if you have small children, you should shield them from the outright carnage.
Yeah. No way.
That is about to.
I am. Look at me, guys. If you're listening to this in the car, okay, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Please, right now, put on your blinker, okay? I want you to veer gently into the next lane. I would like you to slow the car down.
To the shoulder.
Find a nice place to stop. Maybe a shopping mall, gas station, something like that. I would like you to then go to Twitch, Standing in Fire podcast, and I want you to see the glory that is Boom and my archiness. Look at this. I am glowing.
Turn off your monitor. Turn off your monitor. Give them 5 seconds. Give them 5 seconds of hardcore archiness.
Right. There it is. Like,
1,
check
2,
me out.
3, 4.
He's got the glowing. He's got the.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Glowing.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Do you guys see that?
His wife taped into it.
No. That's. I am Arkai. You guys realize that I am Arkai.
There. Yeah.
I am an Arkai. I'm not making this up. I told you guys last week. Yeah. I just wore a white shirt this week so you could see my glow. I have a natural glow from being an Arkai. I was brought to Earth from another planet against my will, I might add.
My Lord.
And here I am.
And so is his wife.
She thinks, like I said, fortunately,
she's human.
She's human. Well, no,
she's human. He came into this world, and he was like, "Who wants to tape LED lights to my chest?"
Hey, I am. Look at me.
One beautiful, gorgeous, talented human woman who understood the task that she had been assigned.
Just
stood up and said,
"Just
yes,
look at me.
I will do that."
Just look at me. When you see this, when you see all of this archaic greatness, right? You're gonna get involved with that. That's gonna happen, right?
I can't breathe.
Yeah. The
Oh my
I
God.
had to get a vasectomy. I was so attractive, and we were just gonna keep having kids. Like it was required. It was required that I slow things down a little bit. That's some serious hotness. I've got all of the elegance of a surfer archive. Well,
Oh
anyway.
my Lord. Okay, let's continue.
So about Pantheon Rise of the Fallen.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
Lord. That's the
This is
funniest
it.
thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
And can I just say,
Uh-huh.
Militus, before we move on, someone, a Discord chat, mentioned that we were kind of akin to a morning show.
Yeah, they did. I saw that. Yeah.
And which I love that.
Me
I
too.
think that is great. I that is, I think, what we kind of aspire to be. Just BS, having fun. Maybe you'll learn a little something, but we are not a think tank. Like that's not what we do.
We're about
crafters.
If you like Pantheon and you like being goofy, then we're your crew. Right? Because this is about having fun, just enjoying the whole moment of everything, being silly. This is what it's about. Having fun, just smiling a little bit.
BSing with your friends.
Yeah, just BSing with your friends and smiling. Having some brewskis, listening to some Cinderella, and just boogieing down, man. That's what we're about.
But I do want to say this, Mila, with your amazing hair growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You look kind of like Howard Stern.
I slapped a little Rogaine on the noggin.
Yeah, he does look
like Howard Stern.
You do have a Howard Stern vibe going on.
Yeah. Does that mean I can hum into the mic and?
Yeah, you got to get a little. Yeah, you got to get a little nasally, and you got to get a little nasally, and yeah. Well, we're gonna get into the voiceovers later. Yeah.
I did want to speak to something Tess mentioned earlier on a serious note. So,
okay.
So there are theory crafters, like, you got like Pantheon Plus and Nathan Napalm, all these
right
guys.
And even Baz kind of gets into some stuff. Yeah.
It definitely does. And we're definitely not that. We're kind of more having fun. But I want to respond at the beginning of the podcast to a couple of people that have like jumped in stream with me. Because I've been streaming WoW rating and just trying to stream to get our numbers up, and so I've been meeting people like Skinny, and of course I've met our good friend
Skinny. I heard good things
and others, and the kind of feedback I've been getting is awesome. It's like they told me, and you guys weren't there, but they told me to pass this along to you. That look, we had a long time to wait for this game.
Yeah,
sure,
hardcore long time.
So I kind of feel like, and they were saying this to me, like, it's fun. I can get in there, have a beer, laugh, drink a cocktail, have a good time. And it helps pass the time until we get the game. And I want to
still have fun. And
still have told me to tell you both thank you for that.
That's nice.
Should we talk a little about the one-shot boss as a possible?
Well, we're not there yet. Yeah, we're not there yet.
Then I won't say anything. I'll just say
we're not there yet. Let's just tell you, it's coming. It's coming, guys.
Okay.
I hope that no one from Visionary Realms is actually watching this.
No. Whatever.
What are you talking about?
They
of course they're watching
cool.
this.
I bet they would love it.
Of course they're watching this because they need to watch this because I am the archive. They need to model things after me. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, my voice.
Hey, we can hook you up, brother. Boom, and I can give you some of the special lotion that we both applied to our noggins to grow these beautiful bullets that we got going on.
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord.
I don't know what you're saying.
I did not get the additional hair follicle.
That's okay.
You don't
memo.
Well, let me do this though. We did have a caller this week. I want to play this real quick.
Oh,
so go ahead and take a listen.
Hey, how's it going, Standing in Fire? I'm wondering. Nick Spark writes a lot of romantic novels, but I wonder what he would write about Darth Vader with his lightsaber. And did Darth Vader really, really die, or do we have a Darth Vader just inside of us? But the didgeridoo sideways, I mean, that just doesn't make much of a sound. But when you have a blue glitter snowman sitting on your couch, you know, you just got to be careful because the ink might seep into the paperclip. But, you know, back to this Cuban cigar incident, you know, I just don't understand how Edgar Allan Poe could have done it with his checkbook. It makes no sense. And when the dog wants to jump around and play, but the light's not on, the smiley face sometimes says, hey, man, you need a bat. So, you know, the lamp sometimes just doesn't get turned on, but the bed sheets, you know, they're always clean. So, you know, the office chair sometimes, oh man, it gets real crazy because because the Bible, I mean, I don't even want to go there. But the prayer sometimes will make the right choice, I think. So anyway, just some food for thought. Have a good one.
There you go. Now
Okay.
you guys might be asking why on earth that message came in. I know why. You guys like to hear?
That's vague. That's vague lore whodunit guy.
It is, but
And-
do you want to know what day it is? Today
what
is
day?
National
I'm sorry, what day
Inane Answering Machine Day. And I think that caller got that message. Today is National Inane Answering Machine Message Day. And that was about as inane as it gets. There you go.
And I just want to
It
say the
made no
Visionary
sense.
Realms. You heard our first podcast. You heard us say we're going to cultivate a community
Yeah.
intelligent, curious gamers who are devoted to
No,
Pantheon.
we're
Yeah.
not doing
Yeah.
it.
I give you Exhibit A.
Exhibit
our
A,
first
National
clearly is a national Visionary Realms player.
Yeah, there you go. National Inane Answering Machine Message
But-
Day. Tess, can you tell everybody how on earth they can get a hold of these rockers?
Oh, I want to rock.
Rock.
There's supposed to be a
Dun,
bass
dun,
drop
dun,
there,
dun,
but
dun,
it
dun,
didn't
dun.
happen. That's
Okay.
okay.
No, I just did it.
Um,
Okay, go ahead.
You did. You did an
Let's hear it.
excellent
Let's hear it. Oh,
try. Well, before I get into this,
yes.
every week we're gonna have a community question. And last week's community question was about what race would you be most excited to play? And the results are in.
All right,
at
let's hear it.
number
It is
one-
Arkai.
No.
Number one.
Number
It
one
is
is halfling.
Dwarf. What?
At number
Dwarf
one is
at number one.
halfling.
Yes, dwarf.
No,
way.
halfling. And number
No way.
two is Arkai.
Of course. Yes, everybody wants to be Boom. Yeah.
Okay,
And-
dwarfs have to be number 3.
Number three is Elf.
Oh,
Elf.
Militus.
Yay!
Oh, Militus.
Who wants to play elves? Come on, play a
Militus.
dwarf.
Okay.
Come on.
All right, what's number five?
Well,
What about number 4?
Keep going.
I'm
Keep
not
going
gonna
down
go
the
through-
list.
no,
Oh,
I'm
you're not even going
down the list. No,
Well,
I'm
Number
1, 2, or 3.
9.
That's,
I believe it was definitely dwarfs.
I'm
that's
Casey
all that
Kasem.
wins.
Coming in at
And
number 9
Pantheon
is
Plus
Dwarf.
in chat. Yeah, high five for some halfling. We're gonna win, but
All right.
I'm not trying to influence the choices.
I feel like you did. All right, tell them how they can get a hold of us.
Influence the choices. Okay, you can contact us. We have a website at stopstandinginfire.com. You can email us at stopstandinginfire@gmail.com. You can tweet us at SIF Podcast. And I really try to get on there like every day or something to like hardcore respond to stuff. Or you can call us or text us at 702-625-1337.
That spells leads. Hell yeah.
And that beautiful golden voice that's going to get the beatdown of a lifetime is Coltrane.
Nope.
Is Coltrane.
You know,
and
he
Coltrane.
nearly showed up here. You know that, right? You wouldn't.
I
be
hope.
talking that
Why
smack.
wouldn't I would be talking smack?
was-
I'd
he
still
was
be talking smack.
traveling? He was traveling tonight, so he
You
couldn't.
mean that he
Oh.
And
almost
he's like,
came?
I'm going to listen to it immediately.
Okay, listeners,
All right,
time out.
all
We
right.
need to have a timeout because I feel like as a female gamer, and Boom and I had this conversation this week, right, Boom?
About me being a female
I feel
gamer?
like No, about
Oh,
me
okay.
being a female gamer.
Oh, I see. I see.
As a slightly serious note, um, as a female gamer, I get accused quite often about being friendly with other gamers that I come in contact with. So Boom and Militus
Mm-hmm.
and Fragile and Coltrane and
Mm-hmm.
as a female gamer, sometimes I get accused of being overly friendly.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Quite often,
I
actually.
see. I see.
And I just want to assure
That
anybody
was
listening,
sexier than anything I've ever heard in
Yeah.
my life.
thank you for negating my point, Boom. I just want to assure female gamers that you can talk to people. All right, I'll just sit over here in the corner.
Oh,
We
we love you, Tess. You're right. All those female gamers out there, Tess is the yes. It is a horrible double standard.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
And just because I like somebody and that I think they're fun, that doesn't mean that I'm flirting with them or
Hey, Pantheon
being
Plus in chat said, "How dare you be
negative.
positive in this day and age? You get to be you, man. Do you?
I know.
You be
Be
you,
you.
Tess."
I understand, but my point is, as a female gamer, sometimes that is misconstrued.
Oh,
As
I see what you're
being
saying. Yes,
other,
I see what
yeah.
you're saying.
So
Yes.
Coltrane, Pantheon Plus, Boom, Milla, I love you.
Yes.
I'm married, and my husband will murder you if anything happens.
Well,
I met him in person.
That's what's a funny thing is Tess is exactly right on that point. Tess and I are dear friends, right? And her husband and I are dear friends. But it is kind of funny that people think because I talk to Tess that Tess is more than a dear friend, but it's not. We're really close friends. But it's funny, but that is a female gamer thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Boom's wife and I are like best friends, and I will constantly like text her and be like, "Hey, how can we F with Boom this week?"
Right.
What? And my husband will constantly text Boom and be like, "Hey, dude, you want an excellent like recipe for bacon wrapped XYZ?"
Right.
Because Wesley, my husband, and Boom loved bacon wrapped.
You like bacon wrapped stuff. Yeah. Why have regular food when you can have it bacon wrapped? Well, let's go ahead and move on into segment 1. And today we're talking about the factions in Pantheon. This is a topic that Tess it's near and dear to your heart,
She is
right,
all
Tess?
kinds of excited for it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is near and dear to your heart, and I would like you to explain to everybody what's going on with these factions. Like, explain this.
Well, Milla, will you kind of read what came from the wiki?
Sure, I can do that. So this is from the Pantheon Rise of the Fallen Gamepedia wiki page, and we have a link in our show notes, so go check it out if you. And it's discussing factions and alignment and Pantheon.
Right.
Factions are a measure of how others in the game world will view your character. These will run the spectrum between an NPC considering you as an ally to NPCs who will kill you on sight.
On site.
They will be, on site. Dead.
On site. Yeah.
They will be important in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. Races will have specific factions at creation, and evil races such as ogres, Scar, Dark Mirror, and halflings. They're all evil.
Wait,
I'm joking.
Wait, the halfling is evil.
Halfling is not evil.
Okay, I was just
jump in there.
I was waiting for that. Halflings are evil. Just keep that in everybody's mind. Halflings.
Ogre, Scar,
halflings
Dark
are
Mirror,
evil.
and if Miltus had a vote, halflings would be in
Yeah.
They'll have a hard time getting close to good race cities.
Correct.
This is not set in stone, however. You can adjust your faction and alignment through your actions in the game world. You could even betray your home or default factions. So, Tess,
Okay.
will you, as a halfling, betray your
Well,
halfling?
there's a
Jump
couple
in
things that you have to deconstruct in this, and that is factions versus alignment. So when I think of alignment, that's good versus evil. If you've ever played SWTOR, it's like dark versus light side. However, in SWTOR, you couldn't change factions. So you couldn't be like a light side.
No, you kind of had to earn your way to it. Like you could kind of change factions, but you would have had to actually earn your way over to the other faction.
You could never change faction. You could not be a dark side Jedi that went to the Empire.
Even if you did enough nice stuff?
No, you could never go that way.
Oh, I didn't
but
know
it
that.
sounds
I
like
always
in
thought you
Pantheon
could.
that, in fact, you will be able to do that.
You
Yeah, that's
will
great.
be.
You'll be able to, like, as an ogre, to betray your ogre home city
Yeah.
enough that you could hang out with humans.
So imagine this, and I know a lot of our listeners are like WoW players. So imagine that you are a hardcore human warlock, and you're doing all these evil, and you imagine yourself being like evil necrophilia type of person, and you want to go to Sylvanas. And you want to help Sylvanas.
Necrophilia? Really? That's pretty evil. That's pretty evil.
The humping dead bodies. Okay, let's
continue. That got dark. Hey guys, I don't know that Pantheon's gonna have humping dead bodies in it. I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, maybe that's how deep you've gotten.
That's deep.
Okay, that's deep. That's pretty
deep.
But
okay, guys. Yes.
Imagine if you were a human necromancer deep in necrophilia,
very
and you
deep
wanted to
into
hardcore
dead body sex. Okay, great. All right.
And you wanted to defect from Alliance because you're human, and you wanted to go like support Sylvanas. You cannot do that. But imagine if you could.
Yeah, I think that's what Visionary Realms is imagining.
Exactly. And imagine if you're on the other tailspin. Imagine if you were a troll shaman and you were hardcore, morally upright and everything that Sylvanas was doing, and you could flip around and be like, I defect.
Yeah. Cool.
Now,
and stroll right into Stormwind, like he had enough reps,
and be like, I defect. You know, that'd be awesome.
I defect. Yes.
Imagine, this is the thing that makes me a little concerned about it, is when you look at, and we're gonna talk about the elephant in the room, which is WoW. With the WoW lore, I know that there have been times in the lore where the Alliance have been painted the good guys, and there have been times in the lore where the Horde have been painted the good guys.
Sure.
Wouldn't it be awesome if they release a new expansion and Pantheon is like, yeah, now the ogre race are doing this, and people could join or defect.
Right.
And
the archive.
The archive.
The archive.
Just turn out to be the best race.
This is, and I'm just my pure speculation. Maybe the chat could help me out with this.
They might be able to.
But I think these movements to like, okay, let's say, Tess, this won't happen, but let's just say I started a ogre shaman, okay?
Okay.
And you and Boom started halflings. Or sorry, the Arkai and a halfling.
I'm all
Sorry,
archive.
Boom.
I'm all archive. Never gonna happen. Yeah. Okay.
Here's what I have to get used to, and I think a lot of WoW players and other MMO players over the years have gotten used to this idea that you can just immediately start and run right over to your friend and everything's cool. And
Well,
my
only if you've played since Kata in WoW.
right.
Yeah.
But like with this game, with Pantheon, I don't really see that as being possible.
No.
I see, like, if I wanted to do that, if as an ogre I wanted to come hang out with you guys, I would need to. Oh, hold on.
We're having
We lost
technical
Noah.
difficulties
He
with
fell
Mitchell.
over.
I don't know what's going on,
Noah's
actually,
back.
to be honest.
Hang
Okay,
on.
there he is. Okay.
Sorry.
I don't know what that was about.
I think it
Goodness
was his
gracious.
dog.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Sure. But in this game, I think what's going to be the case, right, is that if I play an ogre, it's going to take me a lot of time and a lot of faction or alignment task to get aligned effectively enough to even get close to your area. Like maybe we can meet somewhere in a zone that's kind of neutral between the two or whatever. But
Mhm.
like before I mean like throw up into the halfling home city, I think it's going to take a considerable effort. I don't have any facts to back that up, but just by giving the
Yeah,
writing thread,
it probably
it's gonna take
will.
some time.
It probably will. But this is my point. This game is amazing, and we all think that it's going to last for a multitude of expansions. Do we all agree with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's say we're on expansion 4.
That is called, by the way, expansion 4 is called Legend of the Arkai. So I just I don't
Okay,
know if you knew
we're
that.
on expansion 4, Legend of the
Arkai.
Arkai.
Right.
And
right.
all of a sudden, the leader of the Arkai
That'd be me.
gives the double birds
That sounds like
to
me.
everybody
Mm-hmm.
and says, F you, I'm going to go make my own little mini faction. Well, imagine that you're an Arkai that's under the Boom double bird faction, and
that's a good
that
name.
does
I
not
like it.
seem awesome to you.
Oh, lots of
you
people are going to
have to
join the
play
double
it.
bird faction. Yeah.
But imagine if you weren't like that. Like you would have to join the double bird faction.
You know
because
what's
that's what you
cool
have
about this
to do.
conversation is I am now going to put my graphic arts to work, and I'm going to create a logo for the double bird faction. And I'm going to
Double
add
bird
that
archive
now to the
faction.
stream. There's going to be a double bird archive faction expansion 4 preview. It's going to be great. I love it. I'm down for this double bird faction. You really got me
I just
hooked.
want it to be. I want it to. For the record, I didn't say this earlier, but I clearly want it to be laborious. Like if you want to align with someone that you're not aligned with, I want it to take considerable effort. I don't want it to be this real simple thing. I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
My issue is, let's say that you as the ogre, you did that. You went through this laborious campaign to switch factions. And then all of the sudden there's an expansion released and you 100% disagree with this faction change. Like Sylvanas has taken over the Horde and you don't like that. There's gotta be something,
a way to feel back.
a way to immediately like feel to.
I disagree. Because
Maybe
that's
not.
not.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Tess. That's not the way the real world works, right? I mean, it's like
You'd have to earn trust, right? That's what you're saying, Militus.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No. Let's say douchebag red guy.
Sorry, I lost you there.
Blue guy runs for office.
Right.
Sure.
You don't, just because you vote for douchebag green guy, it doesn't mean that the next go around that you have to vote for douchebag green guy. You can change your idea.
To stick with the political analogy for a moment. um, there are still many parts of that political platform that you agree with. And
Yeah.
you can't just make an about face and say, I completely reject everything there just because this one leader is running a lot.
Well,
Like,
I'm just talking in terms of MMO factions.
no. And I'm saying if you do all that work as an ogre to get rep or alignment with halflings, and the halflings go rogue, okay? They go crazy and they start like annihilating people all over Terminus. They become this horrible faction. I want it to take a considerable amount of time for you to distance yourself from them as well. I don't think it should be, because it's
Well,
people could be so wishy-washy in the way that they flip-flop and jump around alignments. It's not meaningful. I remember, just as a quick metaphor analogy, is when Rift launched, right? One of the cool things about Rift was they allowed you to swap shards whenever you wanted. Okay. And initially I thought, this is a great idea. This is a great idea. Allow someone to choose where they want to be. Except, you know what happened? No one ever gained server identity because they're so busy flip-flopping all over the damn shards. So they would wait the 2 or 3 day cooldown and they would bounce from shard to shard to shard to shard, chasing the latest, greatest thing. And that's not the way I would want factions and alignment to work in Pantheon. I want it to be a lot of work, a lot of tasks, a lot of time. And if you have to change, it's going to take you equally amount of time to kind of switch factions.
I agree with you. What I think I am addressing is the idea of a bar. So
I agree. There should be bars in Pantheon. We should have a place to grit drinks. Is that no? I'm sorry. Okay, a bar. Go ahead. I thought that's what you were talking about.
White
Russians, you name it. Mm-hmm.
So let's say that you spent your entire first 3 expansions building a faction, identity. And let's say that an ogre flipped an identity and they're there. They just got into the faction because it's laborious. I agree with that. But let's say that your faction flips on its head like Sylvanas. If I've been spending 4 years and I have this much, like a billion points into the faction, I feel like it should take me an equal amount of time to flip factions as it did the ogre that just came into the faction. Does that make sense? Otherwise, you're kind of tied in.
Given the design philosophy of Visionary Realms, I just don't think that's ever going to be a thing. And here's why. It seems like their design philosophy is adventure, explore, the perception system, all these key systems where we are kind of interacting with the world, not the world shoving the story down on us.
Good point.
I don't know that that's going to be a thing. But if it were, Tess, I'm on your side. If they did something catastrophic, right?
Like the Sylvanas burning.
Right. I know that still hurts me too. I'm a night elf, so that still hurts me too. But I think if they did something that drastic, which I doubt they would, but if they did,
those story points are fun. Like, I think they should.
I don't know. I don't like. I'm kind of at the point where
or in GW2 where they completely destroyed the main city.
But I'm tired of being thrust into this superhero killing gods entity. Right? I just want to be a normal adventure on Terminus. I want to pick flowers. I want to make friends. I want to go into Black Rose Keep and crawl with my friend. I don't want to be perceived as this greater than godlike hero. I just want to be an average Joe. I got you. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping that Visionary Realms kind of keeps it like that as well. But
I got you.
Can I just add something to this point real quick, and then
sure.
And I'm very serious about it. So one of the things I see is that if you are trying to switch factions, you've committed all kinds of atrocities against the other faction, and that's going to take time for the people to sort of forgive you about. Sure. So for the realism, you would have to sort of ease into that. You don't get to just like flip-flop. Nobody's going to be like, oh, hey, you killed my family, but hey, now that this guy's done something bad, you're on my team. I'm going to take you in. Instead, they're still going to be like, you're still a real, piece of work, and you're going to have to earn the trust of our faction before we're going to let you be a part of it.
So I understand that. And maybe what my concern is the idea of wanting to play the hero. And this is a D&D thing. In D&D, you can kind of swap sides. If you're working hardcore on something and then you walk into, water deep and you're like, oh my God, I've been so wrong. I've been so wrong. And you can immediately like flip over and work on the correct side, because maybe you haven't gotten the right information. And with this alignment and faction thing, that's something that I'm scared about, because the NPCs in Pantheon, and this is so cool, but it's also very scary, could be complete effing liars. They could be complete liars. You could walk up to them and they'd be like, hey, there's a cave and there's this sword and my family lost it aeons ago, and can you go get it for us? And you'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll go get it. And you get it back to the NPC, and the NPC is like, now I will summon the seventh evil. You don't know, because that's what happens with alignment. And that's cool and it's fun, but it's got to give you a little more than just a bar. Like, you've worked this much into this faction, so now in order to flip factions, you have to move this much backwards.
Okay, real world example. Kim Jong-un decides the U.S. is right. I'm going to go ahead and flip. Okay. He probably doesn't start out in the lowest position in the U.S., but he's definitely not getting access to the highest position. Right? So if Kim Jong-un flips positions, he's going to flip. He could immediately defect, but if he defects, he would be defecting to a certain level and have to earn his way up. But yes, he might not be a grocery clerk when he flips, because he has certain information and certain attractable qualities that might be used for, doing some things. But that. I don't know,
I'm not saying that you have to gain the same amount in the other faction. And Fragile.
Yeah, what's he think?
Said the same thing in chat. He
Kim
said
Jong-un.
Factions cap out, but losing faction is always faster than gaining faction. And I agree with that.
Oh, for sure, because you start, that would solve the problem, because you would just be like, hey, I just burned down my own city. It's pretty awesome. You know what's great about this whole conversation, though, is the Archai are just always going to be right.
No, Pantheon, I just want to say Pantheon Plus has an excellent meta idea.
Okay, let's hear it.
He wants to make a halfling.
Oh, no.
And through faction, become the commander of the Archai.
Oh, no.
And then lead them to extinction, thus making halflings the superior race. High five, Pantheon Plus.
No, it's not true. The Archai are way too cool for that.
Can I make? I know we've gotten off, and we're gonna get back into our funny stuff. But just as a really quick aside, over the past week, we've gotten a lot of comments about EQ, and like, in EQ, this is how this is, and in EQ, this is how that is. I don't think any of us ever played EQ.
No, I didn't. I missed it.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
When EQ came out, I was like 7, and
okay, you can stop.
Instead,
that's
I
not nice.
played Ultima Online.
That
so
means when EQ came out, I had
we-
this exact real haircut.
Came out in the 90s. Stop it.
Golly.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Archive,
Yeah.
they've got to get a video out soon, right?
Oh, well, I have already prepared the initial voice of like introducing the
course you
faction.
have.
We're going to hear that here in a little bit, but I've already gotten them jump started on this. I did a little backstory. I'm not going to lie. I got everybody informed of kind of what's really going on with them. So yeah, we'll save that for later, but it's kind of coming. It's kind of coming. But you know what's coming before that?
What's coming, Boom?
What?
That's
Oh,
right.
no.
If you listen to Cinderella on the radio, you might be from Tennessee. If you know who Warrant is, you're definitely from Tennessee. And if you think Striper is the greatest rock band, you're also from Tennessee. It's time for the Militus Reddit segment.
You're just ill-informed with
Striper?
music. You're ill-informed with music. If you think
Who the
Striper.
hell is Striper?
Stop it.
Well, it's
Striper.
a band that
Christian
Militus
rock
likes. Yeah, Militus likes Striper. And
They look
it
like
all
a group
kinda-
of bees on the stage.
We actually,
All right.
Militus, you got to admit,
Are
we
they
look
like
just like we're
Guar?
from Striper right now. We look like we are just right from Striper right now.
Except we would have to have blonde hair. We'd have to have blonde hair.
I think
sure.
there's a dude in that band that has
You
dark hair.
kind of look like Slash.
Yeah, he
Top
does look
hat.
a little. If he had a top hat, he would look just like. You know, it's funny because there's a bunch of young kids right now that are getting ready to play Pantheon that are actually on their little Googles and they're
Right now,
searching.
someone Basgrim was Googling who is
Yeah, it's somebody. Yeah, Basgrim is. The funny part. Basgrim's like, Alexa, who's Striper? And Alexa's like, telling. Yeah, everybody's asking
Alexa starts
Siri.
playing it, and he just immediately gets nauseous, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Well-
So sorry, guys.
And this week in Reddit, or this week in Militus is shooting this shit on the forums. We got two posts, just like always. We got one from Reddit and one from the official forums. And I always throw shout outs. So if you're posting to the official forums or to Reddit, I'll always give your name whenever we post this. So the first issue is complicated. I wonder if it's going to stir some emotion from both of you. And it's posted by Skeleton Jack on
Mhm.
Reddit.
Right.
The title of the post is, do people want a pure archer class
Yes.
in an MMO, or am I on my own here? For years now, I've wanted an archer class in an MMO, but I never see one. Rangers and EQ are like that now, but they were originally a melee class that eventually got moments of being an archer, and then eventually now live in it. In live are actually an archer class. But it missed the mark for me years ago because it was a melee class then. I didn't want to play Hunter in WoW because it was a pet class. So when Guild Wars 2 rolled around, I went to Ranger, but was ultimately disenfranchised with it being a pet class and swapped to a Warrior so I could primary a rifle, which is still suboptimal for most of Guild Wars 2. In Dark Age of Camelot, even though I was a Ranger, I always had to swap over to melee when the mobs closed on me. I'm sure there's an MMO out there that has an archer class I've missed. I'm just always confused as to why games never want to go down with a physical range DPS class while offering multiple spellcasting options. I'm not against the idea of other things being tacked on, like Arcane Archer, like in D&D, or Demon Hunter, like in Diablo 3. The theme, the fantasy, is largely unimportant to me. I just want to be shooting some people from range with a bow without a pet, or being forced into melee combat. Hell, I didn't use a rifle, if I must, since that's become popular across fantasy trope now. So, does anyone have any thoughts as to why range physical classes don't make it in MMOs without having an added force niche added to them? Hunters and Wilds have pets. Rangers in Pantheon are melee ranged hybrids. Rangers in Dark Age of Camelot were ranged, but forced to melee in close range. Rangers in Guild Wars 2 are pet class, and so on. And then they posted a poll, which is pretty fascinating. I'm not sure if you guys had a chance to go check the poll out, but it was overwhelming. Yes, if you didn't vote.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, it was overwhelming. Yeah. So what are your thoughts? What are chat thoughts about a pure archer ranged class in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen?
I am
Well,
all in favor of it.
I would argue with this that this is something that doesn't exist in MMOs, and Pantheon needs to create it because this exists in MMOs. I mean, in SWOTOR you had the
Agents and smugglers.
agent and the smuggler.
The
In
smuggler kicked people in the balls. I remember
when they got into
hybrid
melee, yeah. But I'm sorry. Even in hardcore melee, you have to have an answer when something gets into melee. And the smuggler answer was you kick them in the balls.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's beautiful. You look at Secret World had hardcore range only DPS, no pet classes. In fact, I don't think there's a single pet class in Secret World.
No, I don't think so.
No. ESO originally was a Nightblade. Like, don't say that there's no hardcore melee non-pet classes. Like, they
I see what he's saying, though.
exist.
I see what he's
Yeah,
saying,
he's
though.
saying
'Cause
most of the time.
Yeah, the game, the
But,
way.
okay, most of the time,
Yeah.
I still disagree with the premise of the question, because do you really want most of the time? Do you really want to play a range? I mean, I'm just thinking
Yes,
back
I do.
into. Okay.
Well, like Boom, I think Boom has insight in this question because
Yeah, I do.
he wants to play what? What do you want to play in Pantheon?
Well, I'm going to play a wizard, but
right, which is a range class.
It's kind of a range class. But I see. So I think it's actually a game design issue. So I think it's bigger than this. It's what happens is that when aggro is triggered on the enemy, what does the enemy do?
Can you kill it before it gets to you?
What does the enemy do? The enemy just immediately walks towards the thing that shot it. That's pretty much what most games do.
It attacks you. That makes
sense. It
sense.
attacks you, right? It just comes towards you. So I guess what you're saying is if you're going to be a pure class, and you're going to be a pure arrow slinging, awesome. Like, look I got my Legolas hair right now. Actually, I look like Legolas right now. So I'm Legolas and I'm up there and I want to just shoot people, right? I think that's the fantasy, is being that guy. The problem is that one hit doesn't usually kill anybody in an MMO.
Yeah, you have to kill it before it gets to you.
Right. So there's no headshots. So as it's coming towards you, what sorts of things are triggered? And I think game creators could be creative in how that works with a pure ranged class. But it is tricky. Yeah.
I want to push back against Tessa for a second. You don't have to kill it before it gets to you. I think you're forgetting one of the great mechanics that Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is bringing back.
Like a CC?
Correct. So I shoot as a ranger, or I shoot, bam, and I see them closing on me. I know I'm not gonna kill them before they boom. I drop a trap.
Okay.
Then I retreat. Yeah. And I have to retreat a good ways, and then I open back up on them again. Does it make the combat longer? Yes, but it enforces the role that you're gonna have to play whenever you play in groups, and that is your active PC.
Okay, I will give that to you, but I'm also going to talk from the only area, and again, EQ people, I have no idea if there's something similar to this. I never played it, so the only way that I can talk about it is from like WoW, or from D&D, and D&D doesn't have this kind of idea, but even early ass Hunter, which were the kings of CC, they could not function without a pet. From if something closed into melee, you were effed as a hunter, the only way you could stop things from closing into melee was by your pet or from ranged CC. Now, mages had close combat CC. They had their ice stuff. And when something came in hardcore, they could do their frost, whatever, and then back up and blast things in the face. I always played Hunter.
Well, let me read off a few of the melee abilities for the ranger that's on the Pantheon page. And I think
Okay.
this kind of solves the issue. One of them is called Withdraw. Withdraw. Kick
Right.
off your enemy as you fire a point blank shot, vaulting backwards 8 meters.
Yeah.
Another one's called Beckon Thunderpaw.
Well, Hunter has that in WoW. It's disengage.
Sure.
Yeah.
Beckon Thunderpaw into battle, which charges into your enemy, knocking them down and making them more vulnerable to damage for a short duration. So you got
That's
to knock
D&D
down.
prone. Sure.
You got to withdraw or disengage. Beckon a Pantherus into battle, which ravages your enemy for a short time, inflicting high damage and making them more vulnerable to physical attacks. It's like a melee debuff that you're putting on your mob. And then Ferocious Assault, unleash a flurry of rapid strikes with both weapons, inflicting physical damage and a chance to interrupt your enemy's spell casting.
Okay.
Interrupt chance increases beyond 50% based on your agility and dexterity. So you do have, it sounds like to me, like they're asking for a range class, but it looks very much to me like a range class with some melee tools, basically to get you out of melee.
Yeah.
Am I reading this wrong? I mean, that's
No, you're reading it right. And that's my point. My point is I love Hunter. That was my hardcore go-to MMO class forever, right, guys?
right. It was.
Yeah, for sure.
Forever. I didn't switch to like a tank melee DPS thing until probably about 2 years, 18 months ish ago. And it's great. I would prefer, this is what I would prefer. I would prefer the option to either solo with a pet or group without a pet. I would like to be able to go into the world and solo and not die.
In this
And
game, you're
then
not going to be able to solo very much without dying.
no, not as a range. It's maybe Pantheon will surprise me, but I haven't seen any MMO, even with slows and CC, be an effective range DPS solo.
Yeah. That's until the archive.
Maybe
came
I'm
out.
wrong.
Because
Maybe the archive will come
they
here.
have good looks, and what'll
They
happen
will
is
just-
everybody will be like, I don't
they
really
will
want to
just-
attack that good-looking guy.
Well, they'll be wearing a trench coat, and then they'll open their trench coat, and it'll just be like shiny, glowy,
their glory of their shine will just
awesomeness.
go like that.
Now,
Okay, hold on. Let me.
I want to
Okay,
tie
here
a
we
bow
go.
on this conversation real quick.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I haven't kept up with effing. I haven't kept up with chat. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
chat.
Tess, what are you
Hold
doing?
on, I have to read them.
So, here's the thing with Rangers.
Well, Fragile brought up Classic Hunter, but I think Fragile is forgetting the dead zone, where it didn't
Dead
matter if the dead zone, where it didn't matter if you had to, you couldn't hit them with range, but you couldn't hit them with melee, and you also had to switch from range to melee.
that was back in the
Like hardcore back in the day, 100%.
Yeah.
But last point, and we're going to move on to the next
Yes.
thread.
I'm sorry, Fragile. I love you.
And that's
Mwah, mwah, mwah.
if you look at the gameplay, right, that we have seen so far from the various streams, this game does not have what I consider to be a true range class. I'm talking about when you're, 30 yards back from everyone else. Like that just doesn't, the crawls don't look conducive to that. Like if you get that far away from the group, you're gonna aggro a mob, or you may be so far away that you could miss an important mechanic or something, or you might be completely cut off. Like the next thing I know at some point we'll talk about kind of the design of raids, but there's like going to be mechanics where, all raids are open raids, right? So you can have multiple groups going through the same raid, but they're going to have mechanics where like doors close, rooms shut off. So like imagine you were this range class way back and just the door goes up and you're done. You're out. So to me, it looks like I keep using this word intimate. The crawls in Pantheon Rise of the Fallen look intimate to me. Like you are in pretty, even as range, like even you, Boom, even as a wizard, you're going to be pretty close. It's not going to be like a mage and WoW or other classes where you're like forever away. You're still going to be pretty close. You won't be right up in the mob's face, but it's not like you're 30, yards away. So I think that sort of solves this issue and the question that they need to have both melee and range abilities because of the way the game's designed. It's not designed for you to stand 30 yards back and nuke. I don't think that's going to work.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Give us our next one. What's our next story?
Move on to our next one. This one's over crafting. We're kind of shifting.
I want to hear about crafting. Tell me everything.
So this was posted in the official forums on the Pantheon MMO website, and it was posted by Nefile or Nefile, depending how you pronounce it. And the title of the post is Crafters Roundtable, Limits on Selling Items. Here we go. Hold on. Listen to this, guys. This is interesting. We don't know how buying and selling will work in Pantheon yet, but the team has said that they are leaning towards the concept of regional markets, as well as allowing players a method to sell while offline. Today's question is around what limits should be in place of the eventual system. Limits are potentially important to help ensure that people with extreme amounts of time to spend in the game aren't able to monopolize the market and drive out other players who might want to participate. Should sellers be limited in the number of items they can put up for sale at one time, or should the price of those items be capped in some way? Should sellers be able to travel and post items for sale in different regions, or should they be restricted to just one region? What limits make sense, and what would you feel would be too restrictive? So think about it, Boom, Tess, chat, caps on how many items, caps on what you can sell them for, caps in terms of regions. What do you think?
That is hardcore because it's really a complicated issue. This is so many games struggle with this in the economy, trying to balance this out. I know in some other games it's gotten out of control because the game designers get kind of hung up on this. Well, the economy is the way some players like to play. So some players are playing for the economy, and I don't totally know if that's good or bad. I don't actually have the answer.
No, I think it's good. I think it's good. It's one way that they play, and what I want to quote on is you made a statement. You were talking through the tenants last week,
Right.
and one of the tenants you said was akin to, I'm not quoting, I'm just going from memory. You said something like economy
Right.
players
It's not going
have
to get
to
overly
be able to
inflated.
sell.
Yeah. It's not going to get overly
And
inflated.
that's, as a crafter, and I love crafting. I love it. Like, that's how I spend my downtime, is crafting. Not so much in WoW because they kind of destroyed WoW crafting, but in Guild Wars that we all played hardcore, that was so much fun, right, Milla?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, hardcore
Crafting. Yeah.
and but there was always easy way. Like it was either money or time. And that's what I said to the boys, I think a year and a half ago.
That was a long time ago. It was longer than that.
Was it 2 years ago?
It was
But
a long
I
time
look
ago.
the same. Look at how I haven't aged.
You haven't aged.
No, you were like a year and a half ago. I think you turned 23, and then you said that.
Yeah.
Sure. But I said that. I was like, either if you're crafting, either it takes money, like you have to make a lot of gold and buy things on the auction house, or it takes time, like making, like scavenging and
Yeah.
gathering and doing all that stuff. So as long as they don't make it one over the other, I could see myself like doing both. I could see myself running out and spending, an evening gathering a whole bunch of stuff, and then spending the next evening doing gathering all this gold and hitting the auction house.
Okay, hold
But
on. I'm gonna stop you there.
one shouldn't
Yeah.
So
supersede
you
the
gather.
other.
I got you. You gather. You do all the things you just told me about. You go. By the way, we don't even know there's going to be an auction house yet.
We don't
so
know what
that-
there is. Yeah.
we don't
No,
know that.
we don't know anything.
Whatever
It's
system they put in place-
speculation.
Yeah, whatever system they put in place. Do you want to compete with China? I don't.
No.
Do I want to compete with Europe? That's probably pretty much the same, but really I don't.
No.
Like
not
I would
really.
want to have an NA if region, and I want to have, you
You want to have a
Eastern-
Tennessee region specifically.
there we go. I can corner the moonshine.
Ding,
Yeah,
ding, ding,
yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
But I would be in favor of region locking.
Yeah, for sure. I
Not
am in
server,
favor of that.
not server, but region locking. And I would be in
Yeah,
favor
I
of
agree
how
with
many
that.
stacks you could put up. I
Whoa,
would.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah, I would too.
wait.
Because I don't want some jackwagon. And I
What if you're in that
Oh,
server though?
jackwagon.
No, hang
I
on.
love it.
No. But what if you're in that server? What if you are the person in that server, and in your
I
particular
don't-
server,
You're ruining the
there
game for
are
everybody.
like 40
I don't want
billion.
even me to monopolize the server or the
Yeah.
region.
Yeah.
Not even me. So
Well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying, let's say that you're in a server and somebody is being a jackwagon
Which I
in
love
that
That's a
server,
good new.
and completely effing up that server. If you make it across the entire game, you make it server wide,
region wide.
then a minuscule jackwagon on server 1 won't make that big of a difference.
Yeah, I think the economy would be easier to control in smaller economies.
But you're assuming, and I
Because
apologize,
you are
Pantheon.
discounting culture as well. Like Pantheon Plus brought this up in the chat. He talked about Star Wars Galaxies, and like I didn't play this game, but I've read a lot about it, as he apparently has as well. They have like dedicated. You could just craft. That could be your whole thing in Star Wars Galaxy.
Right.
No combat, no nothing. You just craft and sell to people, but it was hard. It was really hard to collect mats, and because they made it difficult and to collect and craft, then it meant that not everyone could do it. Tess,
Right.
Like
It's
you know,
only certain.
No, I
And-
understand that. That's my
and-
point.
it meant that you couldn't have like armies of like Chinese gold farmers. You guys remember back in the day of early WoW?
Oh yeah.
Burning Crusade.
I mean, I'm
Chinese
sorry. You
bombs
mean
were
current
shit.
WoW?
Current
no,
WoW
no.
is just different because they're paying their WoW is now the lead supplier of the currency. Yeah.
But back in
it's
the
same
day,
thing.
Tess, before the BattleNet launcher and stuff like that, there was a lot of shady stuff. I know there's still shady stuff going on, but there was just a lot of people with a lot of time to bot and farm mats and sell them in unethical ways. And I don't want to see that. I want it to be difficult, but I think if they keep it region locked, you can kind of control for cultural values, you can control for a lot of things that way. So I'm really in favor of region caps, and I'm in favor of caps for how many items you can list per day.
This
For
is going to
example, I don't want
sound.
Boom to list 2,000 items.
Yeah,
while I'm
right.
listing my
But
But
I have
okay,
another
Let's
solution.
say that your
Pages
server
down.
let's say that your server is compromised because somebody figured out a way to jack all of the servers up and you're on that server. Then you are effed because you are on that server. If the server, if the auction house is across server wide,
Mm-hmm.
then if you happen to be on the same server of the person that managed to f up the economy, it's negligible.
Well, one of the options I just read to you was setting caps on prices.
I have
Well-
another solution.
If you
I have
wanted to
another
really
solution.
control someone who's trying to F the server up, you could cap their prices.
I have another
that could be a
solution rather than just capping. Okay, here's the thing. You would do essentially what other economies do, which is you, as somebody starts to corner the market, take over, sell too many things, make too much money, do all that stuff, it progressively gets more expensive for them to do
Just
it.
progressively tax the hell out of them.
For them,
selling.
it essentially taxes it to the point where they all of a sudden are like, right? So they can still do it, but it's getting to
just
the
wanna
level
move
that's
to
very, very
Canada.
difficult.
I just want to go to Canada where there aren't taxes on XYZ.
What? Oh my gosh. Okay, we're not getting into that. Let's go ahead
Yeah.
and
transition to our community.
we're going to transition into another segment, which I had queued up, but then the Canada thing, like I skipped 4 things down here. Like when she said that, I was like, sorry if you're from Canada, but that just like it completely made me forget what I was
That's gonna
doing.
move to Canada and start a sheep farm.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know that this is the time that we like to get soft with our community. That's right. It's the Community Matters segments. We're all about our community. Militus, tell us what we got for our soft community friends.
So before I get, couldn't it be we wanted to get hard with the community? It doesn't have to be soft.
It's soft. We get
Okay.
soft with our community. It's a very cuddly sort of a feeling, right? Yes.
So Visionary Realms this past week, and we're going to try to do this every week. They usually on their Pantheon MMO Twitter handle, they throw out a couple questions throughout the week, and I've noticed a lot of people in the community respond to them, and that's great. I love reading it. But one caught my attention this week, and I was gonna write this big diatribe about it, and I thought, no, wait to the show and ask Boom and Tess. So here's the one of the Pantheon tweets this week. It was on January 24th.
Right.
What has been your characters' biggest downfall in any MMORPG you have played?
Yeah.
So, Boom, I'm gonna start with you. What's been your biggest
Well,
character downfall?
I think I responded to this actually. I kind of read it a little funny. What's my biggest character's downfall or fail? And so I'm gonna just take it as I was the character. I went to level 20 in World of Warcraft wearing all gray items, like level 1 gray items.
Is that really your greatest downfall?
It was my greatest downfall because now that I realize it, I could have probably had a max level tune in that amount of time, but I was running around, probably not even getting XP in half the zones in gray items at level 20.
I am the person that got him out of grade level.
It was a bad time when Boom learned how to play. It was rough.
What about you, Tess? What about your moment?
I was using the little.
No, I'm just kidding.
The little Tess's room. I missed the question.
Sure, I'll read it for you one more time. So, Visionary Realms tweeted, "What has been your character's biggest downfall in any MMORPG you've played?"
Okay, are we talking MMORPG?
Yes, MMORPG.
Oh God.
Greatest
Your
downfall.
character's biggest downfall.
My characters?
Yeah, your character's
I
biggest
disagree with that because I feel that there's no single character downfall in MMORPG. I feel like MMORPG as like a whole has a downfall, but that's hard.
It was easy for me. I could tell I have a lot of downfalls.
Well, no, I mean, I guess my biggest downfall. Okay. My biggest downfall in MMORPGs was when I was playing a tank, and I've done okay as a tank. I have a type A personality, and I've raid led, and I'm pretty good at like running through stuff. But my biggest downfall with my tank character was I didn't want to get in there without people I knew.
Yeah. Kind of nervous about it.
Yeah, because if I felt like if I didn't know the exact path of least resistance, that everybody was going to be really mad at me and call me names. You know?
Yeah.
Even with people that I knew.
like Tessie P.
Tessie Poo. I'm still pretty nervous about running tanking with people I don't always run with. Like Boom and Milla, I will always run with them because I know that if I make a wrong turn, that they won't judge me.
Hey, remember
But
that one run we made with her? Do you remember how happy she was with that?
I do.
Do you remember how
Wait.
excited she got? She didn't talk to us for like 2 days. Do you remember that?
What are you talking about?
The cheesing run.
The cheesing run.
Oh, the cheesing run. That's
Yeah.
because I just learned how to cheese that whole dungeon. And I was excited to share it with you guys.
Well,
You know what? Give me all the crap you want. You know what I'm going to do
Yes.
in response?
Yes.
That's what I'm going to
That's
do in
right.
response.
well, hold on. We got a couple from the chat. I'm gonna read them real quick. So,
Okay, all right.
Linus from Pantheon Plus says he wanted to change his name. He thought he'd be really clever. Changed his paladin name to Tankadin,
Oh, Tankadin is
but he
already
became
taken.
known as Tanky Dan. That's what-
Tanky Dan.
Oh, that's cute.
Way to go, Tanky Dan. That might
Way to go,
stick.
Tanky Dan.
That might stick.
Oh,
I
that's-
think he should roll something in Pantheon and call it Tanky Dan.
called me that for years. Everybody called me Tankadin.
Now, let me ask you this. This is going to tie into that Tanky Dan name. Do you think because Pantheon's got a little more RPG vibe, do you think we have to use more realistic names, or are we going to use more nicknames in this game? Can we be Tanky Dan, or is it? Do we have to be Lethoris?
Well, I have a feeling that'll probably be you have your name. That is your name.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be as special as you want it to be. And then you get like a nickname. Kind of like
But are you going to be
Neverwinter.
like URAPNES? Like, are you going to be that? Is that going to be a thing that you get to be?
Boom.
I say
You know what I'm saying?
the game. At the end of the day, the lore
Are
is
you gonna be Logdong?
Yeah.
logged on.
I'm
You're right.
logged
That was
on.
my story.
That's what it means by that.
Logdong.
Yeah.
I say it's a game. So have fun with
Dwarf
it.
Bulge.
That's my thing.
Okay, Dwarf Bulge.
Dwarf
All right.
Bulge.
But
And-
that being said, you have to keep it semi PC.
No. I'm with you. I'm just saying, have fun with it. If you want to be Tanky Dan or Tankadan, cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Fragile says that he must have Fragile must have run with me. Now that I read
Oh,
his.
okay. All right.
Well, and Mortal is my BFF.
Wait,
Like-
we'll get to Mortal, but Fragile says this. He's like, I was running Moradon back in early WoW.
Yeah,
He said there was this hunter. I wonder if it was a Night Elf hunter. Fragile.
probably.
It
This
was
hunter-
probably me.
He was just meleeing, doing 0 DPS to the whole thing.
That wasn't me.
That was me. Although I don't think I ever did that through Moradon. I think I only did that till Drassel. But
No, I was hardcore. I was Dwarf Hunter with my gun.
And then Mortal says, Mama's probably trying to farm Fungi, Tunic, Solo, and Old Seb. So Tess, you relate to this? I'm guessing you played EQ or something?
No,
Because
I never did.
he said it was hard. He or she said it was really hard. I had to time the spawns perfectly, so only one spawned at a time. I died a lot. Never got fungi. Feels bad, man. Feels bad.
Yeah, feels bad.
Yeah, it feels bad when you can't spawn.
When you can't get that thing. Yeah.
I get it. We've all been there. Mine is it's like character but also real life. So mine was back in Burning Crusade. I had a guild of people, 2 of which were like real life. One was my brother-in-law, one was a close friend of mine. We had a 10-man raiding guild that raided through Karazhan in Burning Crusade. And we became so close, this group. We had Christmas parties in Ironforge. I mean, it was so
great. That's great.
And some drama, I was like guild lead. That was one of the guild. There was 2 of us, and I was one of guild leadership position. And some drama erupted in the guild. And I could have squashed it. I could have been assertive and kept the guild together. But I was new to MMOs, and I kind of withdrew, and I'm like, I don't want to get anyone mad. What ended up happening is most cases when you take that approach, everyone got mad.
Everybody gets mad.
And the whole thing split apart. And here's the bad part about it. This is before Real ID. This is before Twitter. This is before Facebook. So I lost a bunch of people.
Oh, they're just gone forever.
They're gone because all I knew them by was their name.
Their name.
Yeah.
That's it. And so they're gone forever.
And I feel you. Back when I was the height of my rating, I mean, I rated in Lich King, I rated in Kara, and I rated in Wad, and but the height, I was like hardcore raid leading was in Kara. It was in Burning Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
And that group, and we were the B group. You know what I mean?
We were too. Well, before we formed our guild, we were team 2 because
we were team 2.
There were 3 teams because they would take 30 players and they would say, "Hey, the top 25 we're going to go into the 25-man."
Yep.
And so we have 3 teams, and I was on the B team. We ended up leaving them because they were too crazy, and we formed our own guild. But it's like a small guild, like 15, 16 of it. The same thing, Tess. I was on the B team.
Well, we didn't split, but we had the A team, and we had the B team, and we had the C team. And I was the raid leader as the hunter of the B team. And eventually, and we're deep into the BC expansion when you're doing speed runs of Kara. You know,
you're really deep in.
And we used to do speed runs. We would start A team, B team, and C team. We would all start at the same time.
Right, and race. We do that too.
And we would race, and we won.
We're another spot.
Almost every time. B team for the win.
We did that same.
But I miss that because there were so many little mini things.
But see, that was community driven.
Yeah.
It wasn't driven by the developers putting a clock.
Right.
And I don't want to sidetrack us.
We're not going to
There's
sidetrack.
a couple more things. We got to get to the big thing.
The big thing. Yeah.
But one more
we'll
thing.
talk about this more next week. Yeah.
We always throw shout outs to the Pantheon community. And there were a couple that caught my attention. I watched the Dire Lord video by Pantheon Plus. It's really, really
cool.
I'm not even playing a Dire Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Check that out. So check their video out. They kind of walk through it. Also, I want to throw some love to Nathan Napalm. First of all, Nathan, I love the way you start your YouTube video. He starts it with, "God is good, and we're getting close to another day where Pantheon rise the fall in the light." He always starts it like that. And then he's got this thing at the end of his videos where him and I think it's his wife sing. And they're like, "Please subscribe." And they have this little rendition where they're asking you to subscribe to the video. So, man, that is awesome, Nathan. So he had a video of a raid mechanic. And this is really cool. He went back to TwitchCon 2017 and he pulled some clips out where developers are talking about things like, how are you going to deal with zerging? Which that's a good question. Like, how are you going to deal with zerging in an open world? And they talked about, like, get this test. This is so cool. They're like, well, we're going to design the boss where if you show up with a bunch of people, they just might, like, totes leave.
Oh, that's so great. Really?
Like, if you try to zerg them, they're like, I'm out of here. And they just leave. Like, that is crazy. Or they talked about how you might show up with too many people and they're like, oh, yeah? You want some of me, partner? And they call up like 4 of their best friends.
They go get a bunch of people,
So that was really cool. Love to hear that. And they talked about atmosphere system, all that. So go check out Nathan's video. Really cool. Go check out Pantheon plus the video of the Dire Lord. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I didn't catch, there's probably some others I missed this week. We'll try to profile a couple every week. And now
we'll get a couple every week. Well, I'm going to get to my thing, but I want to say one I have a thing to add. I've been listening to the Hive Mind podcast, and it's a Pantheon podcast. And I just want to say thanks to them. I've been learning a lot. Keep doing what you're doing. Go on there all the time, and I've been catching up on all the back ones because they've been going class by class, and I really appreciate that because I'm catching up. All right.
And now that you mentioned that, can I throw one more shout out?
Yes, go for it. Go for it.
Voices of Terminus.
Okay.
And it's like a round table. Mm-hmm. They've been doing it forever. They've been doing podcasts forever. So if you want to go through some really cool episodes, they have some great content.
That's great. That's great. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get into the voiceover throwdown. Are you guys ready? This is where I posted a thing last week, and our buddy Coltrane, voiceover actor extraordinaire.
So I cannot wait. Oh my God.
Coltrane caught wind, and I think his exact words were, "It's on like Donkey Kong." So my challenge for the voice of the Arkai was accepted. Tess wrote up a little thing for us both to say.
Well, okay.
And
so I stole
here we
it
go.
From
Stole
the
it.
Pantheon
Stole it from the Pantheon website. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. How do we want to do this? Do we want to drum roll?
Chris Kane was still with us. He was with us earlier.
Chris Kane.
Out.
Okay.
Well, check this out, Chris.
Chris Kane. Maybe I'll challenge him next. I don't know. We'll have to see how this goes.
Please don't.
Because I
Well,
feel.
who are you gonna do first?
Okay,
Will
I'm gonna
it
do
be
Coltrane.
Challenger or
No, it's gonna be Coltrane. Here is Coltrane's take on the challenge. Are you guys ready? Here we go.
Oh my God, ready? I'm
from
ready.
An ancient crystalline planet, the Arkai were originally created from another race of pure magical energy. These innocent beings were eventually bred as a nation of slaves, yet the Arkai heritage is not one of enslavement, but one of valor, uprising, and celebration. Now, despite their tragic history, they are renowned for their endurance, poise, and intrepidness.
There you go. There is Coltrane's voiceover. And I have to admit, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
That was amazing.
It's pretty good.
Awesome. You really gotta bring your A game, buddy.
Oh my God.
He took that and he kind of went. Now, I did take a slight liberty because I feel like I wanted to be the part of the Arkai. I wanted to. I am the Arkai. Like, look at me. I'm in full cosplay. I am the Arkai, right?
Yeah.
And as that, I went ahead and added a little bit to their lore that you guys may not have known. In fact, this is world first. I don't even know that the developers totally know the story
We
of the
just want to
Arkai.
apologize to Visionary Realms right now.
Yeah,
Doom is
but
added to the lore of the Arkai.
I've added a little bit to the lore of the Arkai.
Wait, you did not change the script because
I
that
did.
was the rule.
Well, no, it is everything. Everything in the script is in this. Everything that's in the script is in this. But I gave it a little salt, right? I needed to spice it up. I threw little Frank's Red on there. Okay, so here we go. And I want you guys to notice, by the way, if you look on our Twitch feed, notice that my Arkai character next to me does have a surfboard. I just want you to keep that in mind as you hear my take on the archive. Here we go.
Okay, well,
Here we go. Here it goes. It's
wait,
playing.
wait.
It's playing.
While you play it, you have to like turn off so that the people in the VOD
Okay. All right.
can see your.
All right. Here we go. Here it is. This is it. Get ready. World premiere of what the archive really sound like. Vocal showdown. Take 1.
I am an archai. We are a race of pure and magical energy, brah. When I was a young gelfling, I was riding gnarly waves in my homeworld when some dick dragger brought me to this place full of foamies and hodads. Then, if that wasn't bad enough, some BS bureaucracy totally brought us down and killed our vibe. But no worries, bro. The archai are still known for righteous waves, banging babes, and bitchin' parties.
There you have it. There you have Boom's take on the showdown. So now it's up to the people. It's up to the people. So I don't know if you knew this. Oh, come on. I don't know if you knew this about the archai were actually surfers in their homeworld. I don't know if you knew that. Very big surf culture.
God.
Huge surf culture there. And they were dragged to this place. If you don't know what foamies means that the waves they just foam, but they never crest. Right? It's just a rough go for the archai on this new terminus planet. So because they were drugged from that world, that life of surfing.
Oh my God.
There you go.
I feel like Keanu Reeves or Patrick Swayze was step off of a beach during your or Spicoli. One of the
Oh my Lord in heaven!
Right. Spicoli could have been involved in that. There you have it. So I don't know. I mean,
Boom, I'm gonna give you this.
What'd you think? What'd you think?
For Coltrane.
We have to give Boom some applause. Raise that. Gotta go, Boom.
So, I mean, did anybody even know what a dick dragger is? No,
but
I don't know what that
turns
means.
out. So if you're surfing and you ride the surfboard flat on your stomach, your dick drags in the water. The archai taught me a lot of surf terms.
We got Coltrane to actually record an awesome thing, and by the way, if anybody from production is listening, Coltrane is awesome, but shame on you, Boom.
Nobody in chat even had my nobody even in chat even has my back.
Yeah, they said
Fragile just says
speechless.
Fragile just says it makes no sense, brah. I don't know, but I thought it was good. I thought that was a legit, because I was being the archai. I put myself in the moment, and I was like, okay, what is it like to be a surfer on a world where you are then drug off of it into this new world, and then you have to face the adversity of being enslaved, and yet you come out partying. And I felt I captured that. Oh man. All right. I guess everybody's spoken, Coltrane. I guess you get to be the winner. So that's fine. Pantheon can hire him to do some of the voiceover work. And I guess I won't get to do any, but living my dream. Fragile also said surfing wasn't invented yet, but he doesn't know the archai were the inventors of. That's what they did on their other planet before they got ripped off of it.
Oh my lord! Oh my lord!
But hey, wouldn't halflings be better surfers because they have a better
They have a lower.
Look at the archai.
Gravity.
Look at my character on the screen and tell me he doesn't look like a surfer. He's
a nice
just
surfboard.
He's got a nice surfboard. He's got the body for it.
Okay, imagine my character, my little halfling, in a bodycon surf. No, we would.
Your
What?
halflings weren't surfers. The
We
halfling.
We have a
No,
lower.
no, no,
We have a
no.
lower gravity.
The planet. No. Let me correct this. The planet that the halflings came from, they worked in trees and they made crackers. I don't know if you know that about them, but they actually made crackers in trees, and then they got yanked from that planet and they got put on Terminus. The Archai were surfers when they got yanked from their planet and put on Terminus. The dwarves, do you guys know what they did? Diesel repair. They were diesel mechanics, and they got drugged from their planet, and they got put. All the dwarven diesel mechanics of their home. They got drugged, and they got put onto Terminus. So we've got surfers, cracker makers, and diesel mechanics. That's what's up. That just happened. Well, I thought it was good. I thought it was fun, even though.
Good job.
It
was a good shot.
Even though we all know.
A professional, but it was a good shot.
That was rough, by the way, just to record that little bit. Let me just say this. Tip your vocal artist, because my little thing, as poor as it was extremely hard to do.
What
and it didn't come out near as good. It was hard.
You're just a wussy.
No, that was hard.
No, it's...
You know what that music means? We've been here way too long. But before we go, I just want to tell you, if you want to support us, please go to twitch.tv/Standing in Fire Podcast. Rate the show. Go to iTunes, rate the show, because we've got some fuddy-duddies that gave us bad stars because we don't talk about WoW. And then, if you're so inclined, go to Standing in Fire Podcast at Twitch TV and just give us one of your free subs. If you have a sub you didn't pay for well, I guess you pay for it. I don't know how that works, but you got your Amazon Prime membership. All your packages are coming in 2 days. You're super pumped. You could go ahead and throw us that extra buck. That keeps these servers live, which is really a nice thing to do. You can also reach us at SIF Podcast. You can reach me, Boom, at BoomTap Live. You can reach Militus at Old Militus, and you can reach Tess at Debuff This. I'd like to thank
this.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Jeremy W. at Oak Productions for the awesome music that you're hearing. That is our bumper stuff. Thank you very much for that. Be sure to give us a text message or call us at 702-625-1337 because we would love to hear from you. And we will throw both voiceovers up on Twitter, and we will let you guys vote. Okay? Because I want a fair vote. I'm willing to accept the winner, as I said before. But these two fuddy-duddies, they were just stacked against me from the get-go, these two. They were determined not to give me a fair shake. I didn't cheat. No, I became the Archai.
You 100% cheated.
I became the Archai.
It was supposed to be a common like.
It was very
script,
common. It was very common. It was very common. Oh, I just got smacked down. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we are out. Oh no.
Hashtag rigged.
No. No. Where is my... Damn it. I'm upset now. I'm pissed off right now. Damn it.
My favorite part is I did not stop recording